Welcome. This is the December 22nd, 2025 Brentwood Municipal Budget Committee meeting. First thing we will do is to have the Pledge of Allegiance. So this evening, Michelle is sick. We hope she feels better. She had a fever, so Kat has graciously volunteered to take notes for us. And as we are recording it, we can provide those notes and the recording to Michelle for minutes. And Dan had requested to join remotely. So Dan has joined remotely. And I believe because he's remote, all votes will have to be roll call this evening. First item on the agenda is to review and approve the December 15th, 2025 regular session meeting minutes that Michelle had, and then I forwarded it to all of us.
I'll make a motion. Oh,
Just, nope. Under budgets, the police budget, there are no part-time positions in the police budget. They were all eliminated.
So, oops. Under police budget. So you're saying this line where it says reduced?
one,
He eliminated all part-time positions.
how
So-
many were there before? Do we know?
I think there were 3 or 4,
Okay.
but one of them was vacant, so we only had 3. But
Okay.
the answer is currently 0.
So we should change that to say there are no.
I would say he eliminated part-time positions,
Okay.
all part-time positions.
Thank you, Letty.
Mm-hmm.
Any other?
I think that was the only one that was
So
big enough that caught my eye.
I thought there might have only been one. Yeah, well, with that correction, can I make a motion to accept the minutes? And I will
Yep.
include that too. Second.
So I have a motion and a second to accept the December 15, 2025 meeting minutes with the one correction regarding the elimination of all part-time officers. Any other discussion on this? All in favor? Oh, we have to do a roll call.
We don't have to do a roll call yet because we haven't invited Dan to join us yet.
Oh,
Oh, thank you, Letty. So can we vote this and then? Yeah,
Yes.
so why don't we just vote this? So we could just, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone abstain or oppose? Okay, so this passes. The next would be, I need a motion and
I'd like to make a
second.
motion to allow Dan to join us remotely.
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second to allow Dan to join remotely. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose? Good. So going forward now, we'll have to
Yeah.
do roll calls. Thank you, Letty.
Can you guys
No.
hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
now
we can, Dan.
I'm sorry, I'm
For the
slow
meeting
at
now.
taking
Thank
notes. You motioned, you seconded?
I motioned
You motioned.
to let Dan join.
Yes, you seconded. Okay. Cool. I knew someone spoke.
Someone near you.
Next on the agenda is updates from Select Board and School Board. Letty, anything from Select Board?
Yeah, hold on, let me pull up. I think the main thing is probably just gonna be the fire budget. Hold on, let me pull up my notes real quick. There was some talk about whether or not we should take a look at the elderly exemption criteria and amount this year, just because of the revaluation. There were also some things about stacking, just questions about some things that might come as warrant articles, but we haven't finalized any of them yet. We approved a bunch of budgets they're going to see tonight, and then I'm trying to think if there's, I don't think there's anything else budget related. Nope.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, because, and I think we have them all on our agenda tonight, all the ones that you
Yeah.
did, right? Okay. Dan, anything from school?
No updates from the school board this week.
They didn't have a meeting, so.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. So, yeah, there was no meeting. No problem, Dan. And so we're still scheduled the 12th will be the school budget, right?
Yep, January 12th. We'll be there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll jump into the budgets. First, I have as Fire Department, and Chief Roy is here. Oh,
One was
Santa. It was Santa. What do you think? Right.
Santa.
No heckling and no heckling from the audience, please. Thank you, Chief.
evening, everybody. How you doing?
Good.
Hello, Chief.
I didn't know if you had a high-level summary that you wanted to share first, or
Line by line.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can say is at this point, we tried really hard to come under the 4%, and I even actually came in under 3%, working the numbers down. With inflation and the way equipment prices have gone up and repairing stuff, it made it a little challenging. But I came in at 2.5 over, which I think is a fair ask, personally. And that's my...
I'll open it up. Anyone on the committee have any questions for the chief about any of the lines?
I guess I have a question. Chief, listening to the meeting with the select board, I guess I wasn't clear on the ask you had to the select board when you were explaining that, if you could just explain to us for a little better, simply because I wasn't there, unfortunately, and I listened, but I couldn't make it up. What is it that you were explaining with regards to how many people you need in order to, if there's a fire, right? Like how many people you need, how many people you have right now? Can you meet those expectations 24/7, or what is our current situation?
So the the concern that we have come into with the way the town is populated at this point in time, over the past couple of years, we've kind of lost all our call people. There's nobody that is at this point on the call department. We now are technically a full-time per diem department to staff it appropriately. This last year, we had to ask for the second position to be funded 24/7 because it was only funded during the day, so we were only running one person at night. Now we are running 2 people at night. And that's bare minimum staffing, what it comes down to. We can put an ambulance out the door. We can drive a fire truck to the scene, and we can start pulling the hose line out and getting things ready. We can't actually go into the building and put the fire out with 2 people. You need 3 people. That's minimum staffing to do the job ultimately, and we would have to stand and wait around at this point until Epping, Kingston, Exeter, mutual aid shows up. Everybody's busy, so depending on if they have staff available, it could take 10 minutes, it could take 20 minutes. As I've stated, I need to get across and educate people of the risk that is at the door at this moment in time. I'm sure nobody would be happy if we stood around while a fire was happening because I don't have a third person to put into the building. So at this moment, like I said, we have 2 people. I kind of need 3, and that's going to be my ask. It's not in the budget. I'm going to write a warrant article for the third person. And I understand it's a big ask for the town. Ultimately, I understand taxes have continuously gone up. So I'm trying to do it in the most appropriate and cost-effective way by adding a per diem so that we don't have to pay benefits and extra cost in the sense that you do when you have full-time personnel. That would be the most cost-effective way to make it happen at this moment in time for the town. So that'll be my ultimate ask. It's not, as I stated, it's not in the budget right now. We have 2 people, but ultimately I would like to have 3. And I'm going to educate the town the best I can on the matter of the risk, because that's my job, community risk reduction. And right now, as stated, if I show up to your house for a fire, hopefully Epping and Kingston show up right away. If they don't, we can do the bare minimum, but we're not going to go in the building to put the fire out because we can't.
Chief, can I ask, and I know with the transition, might be a hard question to answer, but how often in your experience has that happened where you show up to a fire and you can't address it?
It has happened here. Yeah. At the last fire we had at South Road, like I said, I tried to get a point across to everybody when I was speaking that we were lucky. We had 3 people. We had somebody at the station hanging out. They were training on something, so we actually had a third person, and they were able to start working at that fire like instantaneously. I think there was some confusion when I say we saved the house. What we did save the house. It didn't collapse in on itself. The whole structure stayed up. We were able to, the second floor was destroyed, but the roof stayed up, which then gave the homeowner all of their belongings on the first floor. It was all salvageable. They got to keep all their memories, all their pictures, and any belongings that were valuable to them. We were not able to save anything on the second floor, but at least we kept the building upright, because if I hadn't had that third person, we wouldn't have gotten there on time, and the roof would have collapsed in on the second floor, which then would have collapsed in on the first floor, and everything would have been ruined. They would have had nothing to salvage, ultimately. So when I said that we saved the building, I meant as we saved a lot of their valuable possessions.
Right. And the humans.
Yeah.
And the humans.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because of this risk mitigation business that we're in.
Yep.
And the interesting Bermuda Triangle that we're also in with mutual aid, because when we visit departments over the summer, which we try to do, we've been doing that pretty much regularly the past few years. It's really an interesting situation when Brentwood has like 30 fire calls a year for Brentwood. And, you know, like, I don't remember the mutual aid number, but, you know, and then 1,000 calls in total.
Yep.
But 30 or under being
Most med calls.
for Brentwood,
Yep.
right? And so you have situations where we can't address a fire, but also a situation where that's only 2.5% of the calls that come in
Understood.
for the department.
Yep. So the way that you also have to look at it is a lot of Brentwood is commercial and industrial. So let's just say that we get a commercial or industrial fire and I can't start working on that fire right away. Fire grows in size substantially every minute that goes by. If you were to lose a large business or commercial structure because the fire spread before we could start getting to work on it, the tax impact would be huge because that business wouldn't be able to pay their taxes.
Yeah.
It's just like a home. I mean, usually when they have a fire, especially one that damages a large portion of the house, they get a abatement to their taxes. So then the town loses money ultimately.
Mm.
So it's risk. And if you guys are willing as a town, not you guys, as a town, if they tell me that, you know, this isn't something that they're willing to pay for right now, they're willing to accept that risk, then I have to live with it.
Right.
But I feel like I at least need to educate everybody on the matter and give them let them make an informed decision.
I don't mean that I agree or disagree. I think that your approach is considerate and seems like in line with what the taxpayers are asking to be within the tax cap and then to decide.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. And I don't know the right answer to this mutual aid situation that I think all of New Hampshire, from what I've heard from our visits, is
Yep.
in.
Actually, it wasn't even Joe Bird. It was Lemoyne started a mutual aid compact with Kingston and Epping that has held through to today, where they get automatically dispatched to all fire calls and we get automatically dispatched to theirs, so that they come if they're available at the same time.
Right.
to try to save a minute or two instead of them getting dispatched later after we show up and say, oh, we need them.
Yeah.
So it's worked out really well. It's kept things pretty balanced for us in that sense, to where we get the extra help.
Right.
But they're getting busier and busier, just like us, and they're having a really hard time getting staff. They're all looking to hire 2 or 3 more people
Right.
because they can't keep up with their call volume. So everybody around us is hiring more and adding staff because they just can't keep up.
Right. I have, and I think these packets that we probably have somewhere, but
The call, I don't know what you're looking
Yeah.
at, the call data?
yeah. the
Yes,
raw data.
and we have that summarized. I mean, those are the font size 4 sheets you're talking about.
I know. Yeah, they're
And
terrible.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I think it's something that potentially should be reviewed annually, because the number of mutual aid that we receive is considerably paltry to the mutual aid that we also give. And I know that's made even more complex by the county situation, but
Yep.
I do think that we're all here, we're all in it together, but we should review that.
Yeah, I mean, if you had gone back to 2019, you would have seen the complete opposite.
Okay.
We couldn't even get a truck out the door to help the surrounding communities, and they were constantly coming in and helping us. It's very cyclical.
Yeah.
Right now, we are in a better position, which, me personally, I like to give more than I receive.
Totally.
You know, when it comes to fire and EMS calls, I don't like being the burden.
Yeah.
When it becomes too much of a burden, you usually get a phone call from a chief.
Right.
And they're like, hey, you need to go have a conversation with your selectmen. You need to go hire some
Right.
more people. You need to handle your calls.
Okay. So I just, I think just the awareness of,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
do we have towns that we might need to go?
Yep.
I also will share that, because the chief and I have spoken on
Right.
this exact
Okay.
issue, right? And in regard to the county, it kind
Yeah.
of came up maybe last time, that
Yeah,
we both have,
a passion.
well, we both have actually spoken to the county and started some of the conversation, and we'll go back to the county to
Right.
kind of look at that to see what we can do with the county in terms of, yeah, we're providing EMS support for them, and we are allowed to bill, which is great, but maybe there's some agreements that we can work with the county, especially if
Right.
things, they grow more. So he and I both kind of had worked separate little paths,
Right.
definitely found in. So
Okay.
I would say I already went to one of their meetings and spoke to two of the commissioners. And we're probably going to do this in the new year after the holidays, kind of see what we can do for next year.
Right.
And I also know he has also spoken to me. And one of the things he told me about the mutual aid is that, like he just said, if one of these other towns, communities was really being a burden on Brentwood or causing him to have to either expend more money or whatever, these are things that he would work. And he assured me that right now, he said that, yeah, the numbers are definitely higher there, but it's not something that's causing,
Right.
and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I'm just sharing, you've
Yep.
told me this, and I kind of said, you know what, I trust you, chief, that's kind of your purview, and
Right.
if there's something going on that he would be dealing with it, and obviously that's how these
And-
chiefs work
yeah.
together.
And
but-
both sides are actively trying to hire more people.
Yeah.
They're adding 2 or 3 more full timers because they know that they're not handling their calls.
Gotcha.
So
We
so-
only have data back to 2022.
yeah, no. So they are actively hiring more people.
And there's a new system, right, chief, that these
Yep.
calls are going into, so.
Yeah, maybe the new system, it'll make it look prettier and I can pull better data. It's just, we don't own that, and that's the states, and we get what we get.
It was something that we've never had before, so it was helpful,
Yep.
totally.
Actually, I have a question, mutual aid. Could you please remind me, anybody, how does it work on the finance side? Like if somebody comes to help us, do we pay them? Is it a fixed amount?
No,
or
it's mutual aid.
you just help?
Yep, we just,
Okay.
it's offset. Yeah, and we have a mutual aid compact, which everybody does pay a fee into.
Okay.
But other than that, no.
Because with county though, we do get paid, right, for ambulance calls? and
Yes,
stuff like
any ambulance call, even if we go either there or there for an ambulance call, we get to bill the insurance company for those calls also, so we do get paid for those.
that? Okay,
it's
so it's just the fire.
Yeah, it's just the
Okay.
fire engine calls, yep.
Thank you, Chief.
You're talking about adding an extra per diem slot. Is that for the full 24 hours or just the day shift, or what are you thinking?
Well, if it has to be for 12 first, if that's what people are more comfortable with, that I could live with that. At least it's 12 hours of the more coverage, but I'm going to shoot for 24, but we'll see how it works out.
Mm.
I do have some numbers if you want to see them.
I would be curious to know.
Well, I mean, I have no problem with sharing the numbers, but I think it sounds like it's something you're gonna do as a warrant, right?
Yes,
So isn't that more purview of select board than really budget committee, or?
I mean, the warrant will also come here, but if you don't
Okay.
want him to even.
No,
say-
I
I mean, it's just like a number, right?
Yep. Yeah.
and maybe I just want to make sure that right now, because this budget that you gave us
Yep.
is 4 groups, 2 per group, right? Because
Yep.
when I counted, there's 4
Yes,
full-timers and
it's for
4 per
it's
diems, right?
for-
So
it's
this
a
is
shift of 24 hours and it rotates
Right.
a specific way, but it is 4 groups with 2 on each group.
But this budget that we have
Yes.
is the full, we have
Yes,
4 groups with 2.
absolutely.
So we have
Yep.
full ambulance with this.
Yes.
Yeah, and that the warrant would be to go to the.
Separate, yep, for a third person.
Thank you.
And that's
Yeah,
not.
so if
yeah.
you want to talk about that, that's great. Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I have.
If you could just tell me, I mean, I could also wait and ask another day if you have the number.
I figured I might as well have it just in case. But this is, the top line is for the per diem. The bottom line would be the exact same coverage, but 4 full-timers, so you see the cost savings that it would be. The town.
Thank you.
You bet. Anybody?
Right, because with the per diems, we don't pay retirement.
Right. And no benefits or any of that.
Would it be possible, Chief, for anyone in the room to sort of verbalize the quick version of what you're looking at?
Sure,
Just
so the
because
hi-
I'm not sure if I'm.
I'll say the highlight, the summary is to add the per diem, one more per diem slot for the full 24 hours. Is that what the top one is?
Yes.
Would be about $300,000 for over the course of a year. And to add one more slot for a full timer would be about $392,000. So I think what the chief was saying is, in summary, it's cheaper for us to add a per diem spot than it is to add another full-time spot, because we don't have to pay retirement or benefits to the per diems.
Yes,
Summary?
and as it stated, that bottom line is actually for 4 full-timers, because you would have to put 4 on to cover 24/7,
right,
right?
right.
So,
For the same number of hours over here. So
yep.
we can get you a copy of this too, Dan.
Thank you. That was really helpful. And just hypothetically, if the 300,000 per diem position was added into the budget as the budget was presented before, I know Chief said it was a 2.5% increase year over year. What would the percentage increase be if that 300,000 per diem position were added to it?
I did not look up the percentage that it would be. I apologize
It
for
would
that.
be like 25%.
20, I
Or-
think I did it right. I just put 300,000 and it changes it to 26%.
Okay.
Yeah, 26.5. 300,000.
And just to confirm, sorry, that's 4 people essentially, regardless. of
Well,
which
the
it is,
one per
because-
diem slot would equal 4
Right,
shifts.
4 shifts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, like I said, I know it's a big ask, but I'm just educating everybody on what's going to be needed.
to
Whether
show
they
up.
want to do that right now, I understand might not, be palatable for people. But I feel like at least I need to get and educate everybody on that it eventually is going to have to happen. We're going to hit about 1,100 calls this year, so we keep going up between 5 and 10% every year. And the population is aging. We just added another huge community into the mix, and they're building 2 more as we speak. So, and from what I'm hearing, we're getting another housing complex probably also on 125, a smaller one, but
I think what would be helpful, at least like, to me, is maybe in the Warren article to break it down to give different options, like, because, for example, which hours, I would assume that night hours are more difficult to get mutual aid than day hours, perhaps. I don't know. This is just my guess.
you're
Like,
actually
somebody-
right.
If you have to wake
People seem
someone
to
up.
staff more during the day than they staff during the night. It's kind of weird.
Okay, so maybe just to see, like, and if it's directly proportional, meaning that 300 divided by 4, right, and 4 shifts,
Yep.
and which shift you pick, or like, because maybe, again, I don't know where the town is gonna be at, right? But
Yep.
maybe breaking it down a little and going with certain shifts versus other shifts would be easier, right, and less expensive at this time, right? With
Yep.
just kind of give options, I guess.
Now
But
that
we're not deciding on this right now anyway, so just.
that also is the way that you have to work a per diem slot is you average out all. Like right now, I have about 30 per diems working for me because it takes about 25 to 35 per diem people to fill one 24-hour shift, 24/7, 365 on average. So we took all those numbers of all those people, and then you average out what that rate is. I'd have to hire more people also. So usually that's the higher end of the number that you're going to be using, all the time. So it could ultimately at the end of the year come in lower than that actual number. but that's how you have to estimate, the year for that position. So
Just to clarify, Chief, when you say that you need to have 30 people on the roster, that does not mean we are paying 30 people
Nope.
to do anything.
nope.
That just means we have 30 people on the
Ye-
list that we could
yes.
call in
Yes.
to fill those spots.
Yes. A lot of them don't work June, July, and August.
Mm.
A lot of them don't work the month of December.
Mhm.
So you have to have a bunch of people to fill in the slots, ultimately, in the end. They work when they want to, and they all have multiple per diem jobs usually. And whoever pays more that day, that's where they go. Or if they get overtime at their full-time job on the fire department or get held over or mandated, then I get a phone call, or let me rephrase that, Kat gets a phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning and has to make phone calls and irritate people at 5:30 in the morning to see if they'll come in and work the shift.
So adding extra people to that roster does not cost us money.
No,
It's just a list
nothing.
of people that we could call in if we needed
Yes,
someone to fill the
exactly.
slot.
You want more. That means that people are actually interested in working for you. So that means that you're doing a good thing.
Okay.
So,
I know that the first time I heard that number of 35, 40.
Oh,
people,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, what?
yeah, it sounds scary.
What?
Yeah.
But it doesn't, yeah,
Nope.
it's just a list. It's not, doesn't come with a price tag.
I guess question I have for you, Chief, and maybe to the select board rep. There was a 2.8% max wage increase, and that was either merit or COLA, whatever we want to call it. As department heads, we had a 2.8% max increase, and some of you have more. I'm assuming this was something, because I have not seen that on any other departments.
Sorry, what?
So if you look at the,
I think what he's talking about is the inspector position.
um,
Oh,
well, yeah, I was going to ask on, yes, on the inspector position.
Yep.
It looks like 9.5% increase.
Yeah.
But then on some of the full-time firefighters, some were above 2.8, at least if we do just the straight math, unless I'm missing something.
all right, so let's talk about the inspector first.
Okay.
Our inspector was the deputy chief in Raymond and has been the acting chief in Raymond. And they offered him the full-time chief's job in Raymond starting January 1st. We severely underpaid him the way we were paying him at this moment in time because he reads code, he reads plans, and he does all inspections. And he's worth a lot of money technically. So
And
I want
I assume there's money,
Yeah.
there's money that comes in too. for
yeah,
this,
we
right?
do bring in money, but it goes into the general fund.
The revolving account,
y-
yours.
No, general fund.
General fund?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to have that discussion, but anyway,
Maybe that's a discussion for.
yeah, that's for another day. Anyway, so I had a feeling that he was going to get the chief job, so I wanted to be proactive about this.
Okay.
I need to put more money in that account to offer somebody else to come in and work that job because they're not going to come in that cheap.
Okay.
so this is
Ultimately.
a placeholder. This is not a specific person getting a raise.
He's going to work for, he got Raymond to agree to allow him to stay for a couple of months so that we can get everything straightened out and he can help me train the new person. And I'm actively trying to find somebody and seeing what I can get them in the door for.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
that's
That makes
kind of
sense. It's
little
not
bit
really a raise.
flex right now.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do with this.
No,
right
it makes
now.
sense. It's just when you look at it on
No,
an
no,
Excel line. right, it
Absolutely.
just
I
looks like
completely understand. The full timers, give me a second.
Yep.
Because we put them all, I was trying to put everybody in a pay scale because the way we were doing things before is antiquated and it got outdated.
And honestly, I wondered if that's what this was.
Yeah,
that's why- because
it was very hard and nothing against anybody prior. They just were doing the best they could to add monies to try to make it comparable to the surrounding communities and get people some extra longevity pay or something in that effect because you lose a lot of people year 2 or 3. that's when they are like, oh, I'm not making any money here. I'm just going to go jump ship. And investing that kind of money into somebody with bunker gear, training, and getting them to all, know the town and drive our trucks, and spending all that time and effort. And bunker gear alone is like $7,000-8,000 now. And maybe I hire somebody that's the same size,
Right.
or maybe right? So then I have to spend a whole nother. It ends up being like almost $15,000 to outfit somebody if you lose somebody coming in the door, and that's a lot of money in my budget that I don't have. So it's not great to have to lose somebody and then bring somebody
Right.
else in and train them.
The other thi-
And,
So-
yeah, and I was also going to say, Chief, that one of the other things is I believe that the third lieutenant is it just an open rec, right?
No, actually,
Or
I
is
have
this-
somebody hired that's going to start the second week of
So someone is
of
already-
January.
But so that one, honestly, it's showing as a raise, but I wouldn't think that's a true
So-
raise, right? Because you're just hiring them.
So
that
the
really,
the other thing that this is not capturing that happens with fire more than any other department is that they get increased certifications, and when they get new certifications, they get pay increase. So this is not necessarily just a COLA.
that's
or
why I was
merit.
at.
Yes,
that's exactly
I had
why.
put 35 as
Yeah.
a placeholder because that's what I had, and that's all I had to work with. So I was lucky enough to bring somebody in that used to be a call lieutenant here and made it to call captain as on the call side before he left. The gentleman is actually a lieutenant at his full-time fire job right now.
Good.
So he's willing to come in, but I told him, I was like, look, I'll do the best I can to try to get you back up to like 36. But I had a placeholder of 35 from this year. So that's why I kind of put it at 36 into that slot, because he's a paramedic.
Yeah.
He's a driver. He knows all our trucks. He's been here. He knows all the town. He's actually plug and play. I can literally just
Good.
boom. He already knows the
Good.
town. He's been here for years. Just sheer luck. He needs to be closer to home. He's going.
Oh, that's good for
He's
us.
going to school, and he has other ideas. So
And so again, honestly, if you look at the average of them, it's 2.5 anyway. So it's like I was just asking because like I
yep.
said,
No,
other
I
departments-
tried to get it at like 2.5, 2.6 average across. But there was a couple of things in there that did come in a little higher.
Okay.
It's like I said, I had the 35 as a placeholder, but I really wanted to get him to like 36 because, like I said, he's a paramedic and a driver operator and everything. So, he fits very high into into all our check boxes
Good.
of things. And
So this number 4, I mean, that's that fourth staff, that Lieutenant 3 or whatever. That it's
Yeah.
actually a person now.
yeah, I kept the fourth one in there because at some point in
Yeah,
time,
but-
I would really love to get it. I'm not
Right.
saying it's ever going to get there.
Oh.
It could just be a placeholder for the next 10 years, but it's
I just assumed that, like I said, the LT3 was.
yeah.
We hadn't hired anybody. It's good
No.
to hear that you have somebody.
I actually, like I said, this was just sheer luck.
Great. I'll take luck. Good.
No, I'm very happy.
Could you explain the decrease in administration salary?
Yep.
With the deputy?
There used to be a deputy, and now
Yeah,
there
it's
isn't.
a deputy position being cut.
And that helps offset the changes in the
Yeah.
overall salaries.
We took out the
deputy.
deputy. No, they didn't want to fund that this year. So that took out the whole deputy line. I'm just keeping it as a placeholder ultimately. Because I'd rather not give up the position as a whole, but
Right,
we did not fund it
okay,
and took out the whole salary line
okay.
for it, which then did
Helps
it
offset.
made a huge difference,
Yeah.
obviously. So, and the fact that I have 2 lieutenants and now have 3 makes it easier for me because I can hand off duties to them, and they're all willing to step up and work. Do
Responsibility.
some administrative stuff for me and learn that kind of stuff. So it helps offset my workload so that I can concentrate on other things also. So.
Awesome. The additional training,
I did add to the training line because it costs a lot of money to send people to school. EMT school is, hold on one second. I wrote it all down so I would have it.
It's impressive.
Yeah, I increased that actually because the amount of training that they have to do to recertify every year
Mm.
and to send them to pump training this year, which they should do every couple of years just to stay proficient as a pump operator. That was a $3,000 cost to send 10 of our people to that, have them come in and do the training at our facility. And these are things that EMT school is now like closer to $2,000. And if you want to send them to advanced EMT school so that they're, A level and can do some ALS, advanced life support on the ambulance, which we're not always going to have paramedics. I mean, we do have Plastow in our station, but they are very busy. They're running a lot, and I give them a lot of credit. They're doing a great job, but we are very lucky because they actually train our people for free. So that helps out. We get a lot of free training, but the cost of all these trainings are just going up. Everything is just increasing, and it's offsetting. I'm trying to I would like to get my people more trained with, we just did a command and control class so that we're all on the same page because there's a bunch of new people. We're all trying to learn how to work together. So we all took this class and we all learned how to talk the same way.
Language.
There you go, same language.
Yeah.
So, and that was another $1,200 to put 12 people through that class. Nothing's cheap.
Yeah. Do you feel that 4,500 is enough for what you have?
Well, I'm gonna have to make do with it for next year, and then I'll see how far we get, and then I'll readjust
Okay.
if I need more ultimately. And then there is another training line in there. That's the salaries for all the weekly and monthly trainings that we do as a fire department and EMS department. Because they have to have a certain amount of hours of training as a firefighter every year that we have to document, and so do in EMS also. They have to have a certain amount of hours done every 2 years to recertify.
Mhm.
So that's just the salary line of paying them for the 2 hours once or twice a month.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I had.
The only thing I was going to ask you, Chief, is on the overtime, because it looks like through November 5th, year to date, we had spent roughly $29,000.
We did blow a lot of
That sound-
overtime in
that sound
December, which I
Okay.
kind of warned everybody because,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, nobody wants to work in December, and I had to literally pay everybody overtime just to have 2 people at the station.
Yeah. It, like I said, so
But we're not going to go through the whole line. But next year I'm going to have 4 full-timers on, so it'll change. I don't know how much it's going to change, but it'll change. So that's why I'm just, I don't want to get stuck at the end of the year for storm coverage or a major fire like they had last year in the woods, and
Right.
then I don't have money to cover it.
and I mean, it's straightforward. You have all the calculations here in terms of 3 hours a week, roughly, you estimate. I'm sure this is something that's been done for a while. Just maybe could you just explain what the other 2 lines where it says 2-month coverage turnover, 2-point shift?
Oh
per
yeah,
month?
so
just what those are, because
so
even
if
the
somebody-
rate seems really like low, like it's half or something of.
yeah, it is a little. Like I said, I'm trying to keep everything.
Yeah.
I'm betting that I'm not going to lose people. I'm doing my best. My job as a fire chief is to do retention and keep my people and keep them happy.
Right.
Right. And I've been talking to all the people that work for me, and I've been listening to their concerns, and I'm trying to deal with them and work with them and make them feel like, you know, I can at least make them feel like they want to stay to see how things are going to work out. Most of the people are willing to give me some time to get my feet underneath me as the new chief.
Yeah.
And they're giving me some buy-in, which is grace for me ultimately. So I'm hoping that I don't have a lot of turnover, but the turnover is, it usually takes 2 months of having somebody doing third riding.
Now it makes sense. So this is turnover of personnel.
Yes.
Okay.
So then they have, I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to have that new person with the two-person crew
I got
get to be trained.
Sure.
So,
Thank you.
Yep.
That explains that. And again, you have 3 hours per week for firefighters, and you have 6 hours a week for secretary. Is there a reason why the secretary is double the firefighters?
for
Overtime.
The
A week?
secretary is certified to drive an ambulance, so I'm.
Oh,
assuming
yeah, so
that's when
she
goes
she
out
is
on
also
call.
an EMT, and what she has been gracious enough to do for us is, if I don't have a driver, or I know I'm not going to have anybody back to help me if a second call comes in, and she's not necessarily too busy at that moment in time, she'll get in the ambulance and she'll drive the EMT or AEMT or the paramedic to the hospital. And a lot of the times when that happens is at like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, or she'll come in early also if she sees that there's a call that's going to be a problem. She'll come from home, come in, and she'll help relieve some crew to get off on time. Then we don't have to pay them ultimately, but then, you know, it might add an hour to her.
So essentially, it's 3 hours of firefighter overtime.
Yep.
And
That's also from
something like
training.
3 hours.
Is all of them have to come back and do training once or twice a month. And ultimately that ends up being overtime for them when they come back to do the training.
Anyone else have questions? I think we did say that before we would do a vote on any budget, we would allow public. So if anyone from the public would like to ask a question before we vote on the fire department budget? Mr. Miller? I think you can step up to that microphone if you don't mind.
Hello? So I'm looking at the spreadsheet, and I see the salaries are going up around $125,000. And I get down to New Hampshire retirement, and that's coming down 15% for about $27,000. And I know for full-time firefighters, the town pays in 29%. And the firefighters throw in another 30.8%. I don't understand how you can have one group number up that much and the corresponding number going down.
I don't make what you just said, so I don't know where that.
I think I know it. So
Deputy.
you're
the
talking about the
deputy.
110 line for salaries?
Salary, 110 and 111.
So 110 is actually part-time wages. So those are not eligible for retirement benefits.
So, yeah, Chad, just so you know, the line 110, those are the per diem
Yeah.
firefighters that we have. They're not paid benefits. So those are that is the dollars associated with the per diem firefighters. And the reason why FICA went down is because we eliminated a position, the deputy position.
Yep.
Yeah, but let me go back then. So 111 is full-time firefighters?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
And that,
220.
that still means you're going down.
No, 220 administration. 220, you gotta add the 220,
Yeah, see
that's
the two-
administration,
Yes.
and that's down 45%,
45%.
40, almost
95K.
46.
And
That's-
Ched, if you jump through, like, if you have all the pages with you, you can see, like, if you jumped, they put down,
If you're confident that you feel like that much, you still
yeah, it is, it,
The other part I would have is, so we found out at the last budget meeting, the county's charging us $100 an hour over our police department. And, you know, citizens of Brentwood pay the county taxes. So I don't know why when we send people, the EMTs, up to the county, we don't charge them flat. I mean, let's charge them $100 an hour, just like they charge us. And collect them. The other part that I'd like to see on the budget is the revenue part, because I know we're collecting, because I was actually on the board when we did this, is charge insurance companies. So, you know, I don't need to know it now, but I'd like to see when we get to the final budget meeting, that we have that number, as well as what we make off of the fire inspections. Where I'm headed with this is really to the point of saying, you know, we're providing services to the private sector, and we should be making basically enough to cover our expenses. It's, the other thing I would end with is that, you know, it sounds to me like it's a never-ending battle, but we're never gonna have enough people. I mean, when I moved into town, people were like flying up. And if we're never gonna have enough people, I don't know how you fight a fire with 3 people. I mean,
It's hard.
2 or 3, I still don't think you fight a fire. And, you know, we have to look at this like we looked at it with school. We cannot provide the school at the secondary level for our kids to get the education. We have an excellent school system. Both my kids went to it, they're both doctors. You know, we need to start looking how we can pool resources between whatever group of towns you have. You already have a compact. We're also starting to use the paramedics that used to be at Exeter as a group. I mean, where you gotta be headed with this thing is, you gotta be headed to some type of collaborative process. I mean, I saw the compact in action. I was actually up getting my Jersey Mike sub. There was a little car accident out front, you know, and there's a Brentwood fire truck sitting there. So we can do it, and I think, I don't see, you know, $300,000, I don't think we'll go too far, because that's almost, what, 4.5%. And so I think you gotta come up with a different model, because this one, you know, because I would agree with the type of people who live in Brentwood are not like the type of people who lived in Brentwood when I got here in '85. And it's like, yeah, because you gotta make a lot of money over here. And there are probably people working outside the area. Anyhow, that's all I got.
so I'll try to answer then, Chief, you can add in, right?
Yeah.
On the county, Mr. Miller, I mean, as I said, the chief and I have already started to talk to the county. And I think when you're bringing up what, you know, maybe that is an option that we look at if we can't get funding. Maybe we can get them to exchange police services. I actually mentioned this to the new police chief as well. Again, the chief and I are both, that is something that we'll be working on this coming year with the county. You also mentioned about revolving account with the fire department. And in all honesty, I have tried, and as the chief, we would have liked to have been able to present that to this committee this evening, but it's just not available for us right now, and we're kind of working on that. And I say that again, there is a revolving account. We do bill, as you said, you know, we take in money and it goes into that account. But it is not, the chief tried to get that for this meeting as well as I did as well. So that's something that we need to work on, but that is being addressed. We do have a revolving account and we do bill, including when we go to the county. We do bill for those trips, either, you know, Medicaid rate or whatever. I think that was all the questions and comments that he had. And in terms of, you know, he'll have to explain at the warrant, you know, what he's offering right now. That's why I asked this budget. Absolutely, we're
Yep.
covered with 2
Yes.
for 24 hours, 24/7.
Yep.
And the chief is going to make his, a pitch for the three. And he shared the cost this evening, but again, that's something that would be done at town meeting and a warrant. Anything else?
The only other thing I'll say is that that account that takes in money also spends $90,000 to $100,000 a year to support the ambulance service.
Right.
That doesn't come out of this budget.
Correct.
And it also pays for the EMS captain. That's her salary, and any thing that goes along with that. It also supports that.
Right. Any other comments from the public?
I just
Okay.
want to add that I think year after year, we've actually been asking to see the revenues by, the source of revenue, and that's just something that we haven't been able to get either.
I have started to put some requests together because I spoke to the previous chief and the previous chief, and they've had the same concern that they never been able to get a straight answer or exact number. And unfortunately, at this point, I'm working as hard as I can to try to get the correct information, but it's not available to me at this moment in time.
And I will just say that we both have discussed this
Yep.
kind of in detail. And, we have a new town administrator who came in working through some things that needed to be fixed that were kind of priorities. Then we have tax rate to be set, and now we're doing budgets. But absolutely, I see this as being a very important item that needs to be addressed this coming year, is getting not just the fire, because there's other, the police one came up even at our last meeting. And as well as we have rec that's going to be coming up next. These revolving accounts, and the question was asked to me last week, was to try to get a summary of, our capital reserve and our trust funds and the revolving accounts. And my answer is going to be, well, we have an MS9, but this is a work in progress because we don't have a really good handle on it. And I'll work with you, and as well as with the select board, whoever, and the town administrator, as well as the treasurer on. That'll be a priority for this coming year for sure, for all of us.
Chief, could you just tell me what specifically it is that you're having a hard time getting?
I have been trying to acquire the incoming and outgoing billables, because I'm having a really hard time understanding the way things are getting paid through the town. I've never seen it done the way that it's done here, and nobody can explain to me ultimately when money goes out and pays for things and what it paid for. There's just random numbers at random times, and that kind of scares me a little.
You're not alone in that.
And obviously it's Julie's working on what she can work on, and I understand that she's got a lot on her plate. So she's given me some of the information, and I know some of the information that I'm looking for is probably not easy to come across.
Is it bank records, or is it?
I've received
records
everything
on
from the
our side?
treasurer that shows what's coming in and what's going out since 22.
Of the bank account physically?
Yeah, yes, but nobody can give me the receipt. Like let's just say that on average, let's just say we spend $98,000 for EMS supplies. But nobody can say, okay, what did we pay for with this $58,000 deduction out of my revolving fund into the general fund? Can you
Like, where's the
show,
list of-
can,
where's the
right,
list
can
of
you show me
expenses
all
that
the
you have?
receipts of everything that was paid? And nobody can give me any of that information. And that's what I'm looking for. I would really like to see 2, 3 years, 4 years of solid information showing what's going in, what's going out, so I can get a real handle on how this works. Ultimately, I went to the New Hampshire Municipal Association conference, and what I learned that I am completely responsible for that account. Anything that goes wrong with it is my head. So
The auditors should have some sort of documentation if they've sampled the
The concern that I have is the auditor's information is only as good as what they were given.
Agreed, but like, that's maybe where I would start. Is that?
The auditors sadly have not finished 2024 yet,
I know.
but I could go back and look and see what they have for 23
Yeah.
and earlier. I can try to help also. Maybe run
So
some
I just want to
reports.
wrap my head around it so that I can see, you know, how long it will it take me to actually be able to afford an ambulance? Ambulance prices have gone up, skyrocketed, right? We need to really order an ambulance in 2026 because we won't see it until 28 if we're lucky. So I have to get a handle on what's in the account and what can we afford to buy it for an ambulance, because that's really what that funds mostly, all the EMS supplies and the ambulance, and then the salary of the EMS captain. So, but I kind of have to know what I'm looking at to be able to order and talk to the dealer about what we would like to buy. And last time that happened, Joe was told he barely had enough money to buy an ambulance, and then
Correct.
unfortunately was told afterwards that he had an extra $400,000 in the account, and he kind of looked a little foolish, but it wasn't really his fault because he wasn't given the correct information at that moment in time. So I really don't want that to happen to me.
Understandable.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know what's what. So Letty, if the 111 is,
Full-time firefighter. The 111 is full-time firefighters.
if I go down to the New Hampshire retirement,
Mm-hmm.
and I put that over top of the full-time firefighter, I come out to like 48%. And according to,
No.
You also need to
Don't
add
forget,
in
yes,
administration.
don't forget, there's a fire chief that you would have to add, right? So in administration, there's a right? Yeah, so yep. And then there's a secretary who would, I'm not sure whether they would be at, type 1 or type 2. I don't, what's that?
they're not in the New Hampshire.
Why
They-
wouldn't they be?
they
They're
probably
full-time.
are.
Yeah, they are. They're a full-time employee.
I looked at the eligibility on their site. You have to be a full-time firefighter.
No. I just said type, there's two different types. There's type, right.
Type 1 are
No. Our town employees who are full-time, who are not police. Police and fire are type 2, and type 1 are other, like the town administrator, for example. Okay? Any other questions from the board? I guess before I take a motion, again, I just wanted to thank you. Again, coming in new, I know being the head of a department and then giving us a budget that's at 2.5% based on what the initial kind of what you inherited as the original increase was much bigger than that. I can't thank you enough. Again, I think that was the will of the people when they voted the tax cap, and this goes a long way toward making, honestly, our job on this committee very easy. So it's all because of the work you did, and I really appreciate that. And I again, thank you.
Seconded the appreciation from Jim.
If there's no questions, I think we just need a,
Motion to approve the fire department budget at 1.288790.
I'll second.
so I have a motion and a second to accept the fire department 2026 budget at $1,288,790. Again, this would have to be a roll call vote. Dan, you there?
I'm here.
What's your vote?
Yay.
Yeah.
I vote
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, Gabby,
Aye.
Kat?
Nay, again, I think that the employees deserve more than 2.8%, so it's my nay.
Letty?
Aye.
Alina? And I will be an aye. It passes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, guys.
Happy holidays.
And you?
Yeah, have a Merry Christmas, Chief. Next is Rec. Jason? Oh,
I don't know how Michelle does. I feel like I have no time to think. I have
did
no
you need a
idea
break? Do
what's
you want a break?
happening.
Do you want a break?
No, it's fine. Let's keep going.
Look through things, right? I don't, well, I do bite, but I'm the Grinch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the select board proposed budget for rec is $141,250. Jason, Bob, anything?
Yeah, so this is, we did extend an offer to a new rec director. So we increased the budget for that to account for the increase in salary. The person coming in has a master's and 10 years worth of experience. Can't release who it is yet because we got to do through the whole background check process. So, and then under Jason's line, the coordinator, that has to deal with an increase because of the warrant article is now wrapped into the budget.
Thank you.
So we reopened the rec budget to account for the salary changes, and that's how we came up with the 141,250. And of course, FICA and everything else gets fallen into that whole line. Insurance and everything. Actually, insurance isn't on this one, but FICA, retirement, everything else is in there. Pretty simple, clear cut.
So what you're saying was the coordinator, Jason, is now in the seasonal salaries?
So
where?
the rec salaries coordinator position, you'll see that that has a 33% increase.
Am I missing that page?
Yeah, so previously it was labeled as the seasonal line. That is my
They renamed the line.
correct.
Oh.
So what is
I'm looking
labeled
at
as a
that second
what's
line.
labeled as a
Oh.
seasonal salary seasonal, that is my salary as the coordinator. So yeah, we try to go ahead and rename that line.
Got it.
And then I think,
That makes
Jim, if you go to the tab that says rec director, is this what you were, nope, sorry, program coordinator, is this what you were talking about, Bob? Maybe.
I think what Bob was trying to explain is that the reason why, if you look at the program coordinator, that salary season line, why it looks like such a huge increase is because, remember, there was a warrant last year to fund this, and
It's
so the
25,
warrant,
25.
yeah, so you kind of
Out what
see
you're
like,
saying
that's why it looks like such a
according
big
to that
jump.
line.
Yeah,
Still
so
says
that's weird
seasonal.
because on mine it says rec-salaries-coordinator. So on
It's like
that,
it's-
it
you're
says-
If the name has
speaking
been
so
changed, I'll have to pull in the
confidently.
latest.
I don't see it.
I can share mine.
No,
if
no,
you
no,
like.
I know.
This is the one I got at the rec board, or
Um,
select board.
Okay.
So essentially, the only thing we really
I think it's because
adjusted
I
on this was the top two green,
Okay.
and then that brought us to the 141,250.
Okay.
It could just be I didn't get the latest IMSI run from the town administrator. She gave me the dollar values.
Right.
So if that name of that line changed,
Oh,
I'll-
yeah,
I'll
because
pick that
we can
up.
change the name.
Yeah,
of
then
it.
if the name changed,
Right,
I'll
right.
pick it up the next time.
And if you look even on that sheet, yours looks a little outdated because if you look over where it has employees, mine only has two. One is full-time, one is part-time, where you have three on yours.
No, we have two.
No, I have one full-time and one part-time, less than 32 hours. See it? Is that
Oh,
what you're
yeah,
talking
he
about?
has the part-time split up into more than 32 hours and less than 32 hours.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, we just have a count.
Again, I didn't bring my goggles.
No, that's
That's all
okay.
right.
You're not the only.
You're not the only
You're
one.
mo- you're
I can
mindful?
zoom,
You're
but
even
then
at 100%.
I'm at 100%. I know.
I
Let's
didn't
go
have
for
to yell at
150.
him.
Maybe I'll be able to look better.
But then I mean, like,
Oh.
it kind of falls off then.
Yeah.
Make your columns narrower. No, it's fine.
I guess my question for rec is, there was lots of things happening last year or this year. I don't know what day it is anymore. Or 2026, are we status quo? Are there projects happening? Are we in maintenance mode? Like what is?
I
what's
think
the
right now we're kind of Jason's been
transitioning
holding down the fort.
mode? Yeah.
If the background check comes through and everything works out perfectly, I'm let's knock on wood that it works.
It'll work out how it's supposed to.
The candidate we made the offer to would start date is officially the 5th.
Okay,
I would assume that person would be coming in, doing a needs assessment, working with Jason, coming up with what do we have for programs? What did we put on pause
right.
that we can re-trigger?
Yeah,
What other ideas do they have to bring forward of programs and stuff that they could do? The good thing is they're coming with about 10 years worth of experience.
right.
So they have a ton of knowledge.
Yeah,
And we're hoping that they can hit the ground running and say, I've done this before and this works.
yeah.
This is not working out too well, so maybe we can either
And are
change it
we
up or do something.
assuming that any changes in programs, et cetera, would be funded through the revolving account?
Yeah, so the revolving account, I can tell you that I know that they just paid $36,000 roughly, I think.
To the town, it
to the
was
town.
39
Right.
roughly, I believe, yeah.
Right.
So that they just paid to the town to kind of catch us up to where they have to pay for a certain portion of it.
Yep.
On the revolving account. And so hopefully we can get that on track where they're not waiting. But that
Right.
was, past till
was like
October of
14
last
months,
year.
yeah.
So it was like
Okay.
14 months worth of invoicing we needed to get
Right.
paid back.
But going forward, as far as the budget impact, the assumption is that any of those program changes or any new idea, et cetera, will be funded through the revolving account. And that's why the only thing that really changed here is just salaries.
Predominantly, yeah, most of our programming is run through the revolving account. There are exceptions for certain equipment needs and stuff like that that we do tap into certain lines.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's like land maintenance. The only other time we'll really dip into, or utilities will be the other
Right.
one that will dip into the budget. For.
In terms
Okay.
of facilities, we did the windows this year
Yes.
and furnaces.
And the furnace, correct? That's been completed, yes.
So that's good because I know that both
And
of
those were
those
separate
were,
from the budget and
but both of those were kind of
big task, yeah.
Those are
waiting for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, and
It's good to
so
get them
the
finalized.
cool thing with the furnaces is actually that there are two. So now if one fails, at least we have another one. And that's because they're controlling different floors.
Right.
So it makes it more efficient for us.
Okay.
So.
And I'm sorry, did you say that those were paid for outside of the budget? So where?
Correct.
Was that from the revolving fund or?
For
did
the
we-
furnace,
Yeah,
the furnace was from capital reserve.
okay,
Building,
Center.
building
Or-
maintenance.
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, for town buildings, yes.
Okay, so it's not through the rec budget, but it is
Correct,
still
sorry.
on the, okay, that's why I was confused and I was like,
My
wait, but
apologies,
then
yeah.
No, you're good.
where'd it come from?
I don't have any other questions. Public?
Anyone from the public have a question, comment on the rec budget?
So, is there any reason why we couldn't adjust the fees that people pay sufficient to offset all the costs? So it would be a pure in and out. That's what I would like to look at. $60,000, $70,000. Yeah, I think with a tight budget, I think you have to look at what services are being provided to who. I had kids who were programs, and you pay what they paid, it used to be all volunteer. It isn't going to be volunteer. I think it ought to be cost neutral for past.
In terms of the revolving account, we netted about $18,000 this year. So a lot of the costs that it takes to run our programs and our offerings and our events, we do a lot of events that are free to the public that are just come and enjoy the community event here. But at least under our last director, the goal was mostly to try to offset costs. Where we do have a little bit of revenue that goes towards the big projects, so that way we don't have to go to the town for those things. So when we don't have to worry about making enough money to pay ourselves, it's nice to be able to focus on the actual work.
I will say this in answering Mr. Miller's question a little bit, because I have a close friend who's on the rec commission now, and I know that one of the things they talked to this new director who's coming in is the ability to bring in funds, to go out to businesses, to look for sponsorships and things like that. That was an area that possibly the commission thought could be done done better or more of that. And I think this person has those skills. So I wanted to say that because
When
I
we
think it
did this-
addresses kind of what he
Yeah.
was bringing
When
up.
we did this site walk, I know this was the past director, but and I'm assuming this is something the new director will come in and look at, is how much the programs cost and how much we're charging for
Right.
them.
Mm.
That,
Yeah, I mean, I commend them. I mean, I remember looking at the revolving account at the time, and even the latest that you had. I mean, you're doing a lot. I mean, there's a lot going on there that you fund on your own. And again, the other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm not just so that everyone knows, is that I know on this hire, when you looked at the rec director, you had someone from the rec commission who has experience, one of our residents who has experience with doing hiring, and he actually helped on this one, and I think that was
He's
a
a
great
recruiter,
idea.
So,
He's a recruiter, so, and I think this is something we should look at more often is because, I mean, let's face it, we're all kind of volunteers, including select board members, and when we're hiring for a position, I mean, if we have people who have good experience, they did do that. They did do that in this case, so I just wanted to.
yeah, one of the things, when we did the interviews, because I was part of the interview process, we did talk about needs assessment. We did talk about and we brought this up at the rec, also, the rec commission was, they did the ice rink. We can sell banners, and they could put banners on the ugly garage that we have sitting over there.
Mm.
It's a big building that's lit up. Well, great advertisement. Then you take the banners down, and then next year, you call them up and say, would you like to contribute? We still have your banner.
Right.
We'll put your banner back up. Would you like to donate again? And you have Tractor Supply, you have Heavenly Donuts, you have Lowe's, you have Walmart. And as we just learned on the fire department, we're donating a lot of our funding to run and help mutual aid. So we might as well tap into those resources also. And you can see that whole parking lot from the road. So if that ice rink is lit up at night, you're going to see all these banners, just like they do for the baseball fields and stuff.
The other thing I do want to point out too is, at least under our past director, and I do share this personally a little bit, is that we do try to seek to be the affordable option in the area. Not everybody can go to Seacoast United or go to the private leagues and stuff like that. And as a recreational program, we try to seek out to make sure that we're the affordable option for any youth or even adults and seniors as we're growing those office offerings and services. So it's finding the balance of making sure we're covering costs, which we are definitely doing, and also making sure that people are actually able to attend and take part in what we offer. So
And I think we do that with the camp too, right? The camp,
yeah,
you're
so if
making
you look
affordable,
at
so.
here in town, we have another offering. There's another service who provides a summer camp program. I mean, you talk about going there for a full summer, and it's multiple times how much we charge for our program. And I know we have people here in town who appreciate being able to have a place to put their kid over the summer. So it's a balance, definitely.
Any other comments from the public? No.
Motion?
So I guess just say, again, before we do a motion, I just wanted to say, Jason, thank you. Again, you stepped in, you did this budget, I know, and you spoke to me several times. You did a great job on this. I really appreciate it. Like I said, given that you're part-time, you're in school, doing your studies, and kind of stepped in to be the director. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You did a great job.
Kudos.
I would like to second that, Jim. I've worked, Jason, with you on probably too many fronts now, whether it's soccer, basketball, river paddles, building the ice rink. Hopefully it's flooded with water now, by the way. We were just up there this afternoon. But Jason, you stepped in and stepped up in a huge way, and I just want to express my appreciation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
I'd like to motion to approve the rec budget at $141,250.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the 2026 recreation budget at $141,250. Roll call vote. Again, I'll go Dan,
Aye.
Gabby,
Aye.
Kat,
Nay.
Letty,
aye.
Lena, and I'm an aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Everyone have a great holiday.
You too.
Oh, no, this is fine. Just, I'm catching up. I used to be able to type a lot faster.
She'll
is
also
what
go
I'm
through,
realizing.
like, just having this
Yeah, no.
scaffolding to start from is gonna be huge.
Oh, I'm not going back and reformatting that. This is what she's getting.
I call that a stream of consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
I guess we'll do animal control next.
I'd like to make a motion for the $10 for ACO. It's just
Let me
a
get to
dollar.
it. I know.
It's $1 in each of these lines to hold them open. We do not currently have an animal control officer, nor are we anticipating getting one. But
Do we need one?
uh, we're
We
not going to
haven't
get
had
one
one.
this year.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second for the 2026 animal control budget at $10. Again, we have to do a roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
Alina?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes. Next is mosquito control.
Mosquito control is level funded. I'm doing this because
Thank you. And I was just going to say, I mean, the town administrator's not here.
Uh,
The only thing I was going to add is that I think they explained that the reason why the current was 28 is because there's a $1,200 kind of, in case there was a pool found with
Right.
West Nile
Positive,
virus,
it's-
something
yes.
like that,
Yep.
then they'd go out and spray. So they didn't have that this year because it was so dry. So that's why there was $1,200 less,
Yes.
but we
But
want
everything
to.
other than that, it's exactly
Correct.
28,000.
Correct.
It's the same contract that we had last year.
Correct.
So it's the exact same.
Yeah, there's no increase at all. It just, like I said, I just wanted to make sure that,
Do we like go do a review of providers and costs for this kind of stuff on an annual basis?
No, definitely not on an annual basis. I think this is, I want to say a 3-year or 5-year contract. I don't remember which.
Okay.
But this was, like I said, this was locked in, same as last year.
Gotcha.
Increase.
Cool.
So I know it's at least not done this year.
Okay, not up for discussion. Motion to approve the mosquito control budget 29,200.
Second.
so I have a motion and a second to accept the mosquito control budget at $29,200. On a roll call vote, Dan?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
Lena?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that passes. Last is street lights.
That's my favorite.
I'd like to move the $1 streetlight budget. At one point, we did have a streetlight. We don't anymore, but we are holding it open at $1, just in case we have one again later.
Where was it?
Oh. There you go.
That would be a nice place to have a light.
For those at home, the question was, where was the street light? And Mr. Miller told us that it
must
was
have been
actually
before
near
there was a-
125
must
where
have been
Lindy's
before there was a three-color light there, right? Like before there was a real intersection there? Yeah.
Not like that anymore.
Nope, not like that anymore. Okay.
Second. You motioned, right?
Yeah, I did.
So I have a motion from Letty, a second from Gabby to accept the 2026 street lighting budget at $1. We have a roll call vote. Dan?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
Alina?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that passes.
You just think of something.
I did.
Close this
I was
out.
gonna let,
I guess next I wanted to just go over, I provided the 434R forms, the revenue forms that the town administrator had sent. And I tried to make a table that just compared the 2 years. I know, and I had to do it by hand because I
So-
could not get that to read in because it was kind of a picture type PDF
Mhm.
with the,
No, I
Started.
had a question. I do have a spreadsheet, but so these are both the 434Rs. There is a 434 without an R.
That is the initial one that is like the guess for what the revenue is gonna be. And so I didn't know, I couldn't remember when we submit that for the next year.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I do know this, the number, so if you look at the 2024
Mm-hmm.
form that the town administrator gave us, if you go down to the, the bottom where it shows the total, the adjusted revenue by the state, that $2,100,646, that's exactly what was in the tax rate last year. So that number definitely matched what I had for last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I did confirm that on the 2025 434R form that she sent, that the $2,169,260, that's definitely what was used when we set the tax rate. That is the exact number.
Right. I think the question that I had, and I tried to ask this at the select board meeting, but I think maybe it wasn't the right audience. So, for example, if you look on page, hold on, which page is that on? So like the interfund operating transfers, those are all zero. Next page, I think.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. Okay,
This
so
one.
these are all zero. And
But they shouldn't be.
they shouldn't be. So this is why I had asked them, is this an example of a place where us having to fill out this form with estimated numbers or not final numbers so that we could do the
Set the
tax
tax
rate is gonna have longer standing issues?
Like, for example, rec just said, right, that out of the
Yep.
rec revolving fund, they
Mhm.
had to pay 60 grand to get up to date from last October, which should be represented in
Well,
one of those
again,
transfers in.
all I know is like on the specific, on what they were talking about on rec. I know that specific one because they had asked me to try to help them do it with
Right.
Julian, and it had to do with the
The-
counselors for the camp
Yeah,
that get paid, the town payroll
Pays them.
system, the town payroll system, right?
Totally.
The town pays them.
but
and
it's
then-
not represented here is the worry. Like, that should be.
Those funds have money in them.
Well, no,
No.
but because this is from a look at our general fund.
But I'll be honest with you, there's no appropriation line. So.
No, but do you see?
No, but
it's literally called interfund operating transfers from
right,
revolving
right.
funds.
And I'm just saying, like, because I know, like, this revenue is used to set the tax rate, right? So it's offsetting
So you're saying,
appropriation
like-
costs. So what I'm saying is that there was no appropriation for those camp people.
Line.
There's no line.
appropriation
So there's no
line.
expenditure in the budget for those people. It's not, like, if you look at rec, there's no line in there for those camp counselors, whatever.
Right.
I think he said it was 40,000
What
or
about the
something.
police details, though?
That,
I don't know, Letty.
Okay.
right.
Yeah, that I
So-
don't know. I mean, I will say this, it's consistent, like, I guess I have the 23 one somewhere, but I look,
get what
like,
you're
if you look
saying,
at the
Jim,
number on the,
right. Because you don't see the out, so you shouldn't see the in.
right. I think I don't know where it is in the accounting system,
I
but
think that when Julie confirmed to us, right, that it was an estimate, I think I understand what Letty's saying as well, like what we had to set this, even though the audit is not ready, we had to set this in file so that we had a number for tax rate, right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't represent the actual, and once audit is complete, then I would assume there's some sort of amendment that can be
I'll
filed.
just be honest with you, and she's not here.
Well-
I asked her, she told me that that when she said about the estimate and using estimated numbers, she told me it did not have to do with the revenue, that this 434R form, this was not what held up. I asked her that question. Because I said that it came up at our meeting. She said, no, that when she asked for permission about this audit, that it did not have to do with revenues. I wish she was here, because
Yeah,
I know.
she
I
could
think
answer
it'd be
that.
an easy
So, for
confirmation, right?
example, how do we know what the unreserved fund balance is? Because if the general fund needed to be reimbursed from these other revolving funds, then how do we know?
But remember, this all started because in order for us, the goal is, I'd like to be able to set a tax cap threshold. And in order to do that, the one question that we really need to talk about, and I shared with you what NHMA said, right? It's estimating the revenue. And just so you know, when we set the tax rate in November, it's always going to be an estimate because there's still the month of December left, right? So, but you have 11/12 of the year done. So these are really good questions. I just don't know, like, at some point, like, where,
I think that maybe just as the budget committee, right, like, since we're gonna be presenting that calculation, I think as long as we make it clear that the reality for 2024 might change, right, I mean, hopefully by then we have the final numbers, but.
Or if it doesn't change 2024, does it make the next year look
Right.
extra weird?
Right, but essentially admitting, and I don't know what was in those documents, that the town can't admit openly that, what kind of mess it was, the accounting, right? Like in what state the
I
accounting
don't
was
think
left.
anyone knows is the problem. I think
And,
most of the people looking at it.
And saying that the new administrator and the finance director, right? Obviously, she will straighten things out, and going forward, things are gonna be on time and clear, right? But we all have to admit, and I'd personally make it as public as possible, that the amount of work that she had to deal with that wasn't supposed, like, it wasn't supposed to be a mess, right? It was supposed to be straightforward as accounting and debits and credits and all that jazz. So she is dealing not only with day to day, but the backlog, and that backlog takes time to reconcile.
We in trouble? The other thing so I have a running list, and I think you do too, Jim, of the unassigned fund balance over the last, like, I don't know, 10 years or so. This year's unassigned fund balance was really low compared to historical. I know that the one from a couple years ago was weird. But this year's was especially low. And then we also used unreserved fund balance to pay for some of our warrant articles. So I think I'm just wondering, is that something that's going to be corrected at some point later, or are we just running a tighter ship?
When you say this year, you mean 2024?
The one on the most recent, the one on the most recent 434. I think that might be this one. Yeah, the 167. Yeah.
this on the 2025, I think it's all the way at the bottom, right? Right there.
Yeah, the 167.
Okay.
537.
So I don't quote me, but I thought at the end of 24, the last number that, because this came up in one of my early presentations to the group about the tax rate and, projecting what the tax rate was going to be and looking at the fund balance, that the last real number that we had from the state was like $900,000. And I remember saying that the last I had heard in January of last year was that we were somewhere around $600,000 of unexpended appropriations. So I was like, well, that's 900 plus 600, it's like 1.5 million, roughly. I thought that was that was just my rough guess at the time. Now, again, all these audits have now gone, and I believe if you look now, they're saying that we have $1.67 million. It felt about right because it was about what I
Let me
thought, but
tell
I
you.
don't
my
know
notes.
like how accurate the 900,000 was
So-
at that time. But
So the unassigned fund balance in 2020 was 1.8 million. 2021 it was 1.9 million. 2022 1.9. 2023 2.6. 2024 1.8. Now we're down to 1.6. I'm just wondering, is that because we are reining in how much we're budgeting that we don't need, or is something missing?
I'll give you my kind of
Sure.
guess based on what I've seen is that I think you're right. I think historically, if you go back and look at those numbers, we were over appropriating by between $500,000 and $600,000 a year on a $5 to $6 million budget, which is a lot, but it is what it is. So but that was allowing the select board to use $600,000, $700,000 a year to offset taxes because you had that extra. And I think what you're seeing is that as you start doing tighter budgets where you're not over appropriating to almost a 10% level, you're going to see what I think a lot of other municipalities probably see, like that you don't see big increases to the fund balance from year to year, because it only grows two ways, I believe. It only grows if you have unexpended appropriations or if you have revenues that come in over what you had estimated. I believe those are the only two ways that fund can grow.
So revenues that come in over than estimated would show up in this 434 in the top parts.
Can I provide an example
Sure.
potentially that we could maybe go look at in the let me go.
Annual report?
No, it's in the 2023 annual report. Just to look at an example that has that 434, the 434R, a 737. I feel like I'm talking about jet airplanes. Also, it has the statement of net positions, which is like a balance sheet, and the statement of activities, which is like a income statement for the town. And so it shows these are
The one
all
that was published in 24 for the year of 23?
No, this is published in the year in 2023 for 2022.
Okay.
So it says, if you look up on the scholars, it's titled 2023 annual report.
Yes.
I thought I had it.
I
Sure
can
you do somewhere.
I,
Don't we all?
I know.
the 23 one, you said, right?
No, go.
Yeah, you said 2023.
Let me go to page 1. I'm on page 51. Just remind me that.
They look like they have the same name based on creeping on your computer in this one. Just
Let me know. Tell me.
Yeah.
What page?
Okay, so if you let's see if I can search this. Can't.
Oh, what page are you on?
Well, I was on 51. If we start there, page 51. And then I'll tell you where the 434 stuff is.
This is 737.
Right. So that's the auditor's report. Okay, so keep going right here. Can you zoom that in a little bit?
Oh, God.
The one above it. Yeah, this one.
This is part of the audit,
Let me
which
try
is
to make
helpful.
it bigger here.
Yeah. So if you scroll down, that is not only our taxes, right? But that's not we don't call that the revenues that we estimate to offset the tax effort. But motor vehicle license, what I was looking at is how close are our estimates? That's what I wanted to know in here was, can we look at a prior year and say, did we nail it? Are we close?
How close do we do?
Well, what year
Do you
was
know-
this? Yeah,
so
I
this
have
is-
that. So this is 2022. And so I guess you would say the total revenues is 5.4 million minus 3 million. So 2.4 roughly? Is that what you're saying? 2.4, right? For 2022? Because I'll look back. I have that number. Because you're saying, let's look at when the tax rate was set. What was the 2022 number?
Mm-hmm.
I have that.
So the unassigned fund balance in 2022 was 1.79 million. Nope, sorry, the revenue was 1.79 million.
Yeah, 1.7 million. Yep.
Yep. And then the
Thanks,
unassigned
Lonnie.
fund balance was 1.96. Fund balance used to reduce taxes was 933,000.
So the 2022 434 R.
But just, again, what you're doing is absolutely correct, but just remember that if the number that we need to make sure that when we figure out the tax cap is gonna be based on next year's 434R form that they submit when they do the tax rate, because that's what we're gonna be comparing
Right.
ourselves to. So what NHMA was kind of saying was they were just more concerned with like, okay, you're looking at your historical, what what the revenues are for your tax
And they
rate.
suggested keeping it flat, right?
Being more conservative, yeah.
The
because-
most conservative.
Well, they just said that, I said we were thinking about using 4% because historically it had been, whatever. I had all the data. And they just said, well, your last year was only 3.3. So I'm not sure. They felt we should be more conservative and use probably a 3.3% and not jump to 4. And all I'm saying is like, these are really good questions in terms of like, yeah, but it's not what we're going to need for next year. When we actually at the end of the year go, oh, how well did we do? It's going to be based on this same number here. It's going to be, because that's what's going to be used for the 2026 tax rate. Does that make sense?
When you say this same number, what are you referring
The
to?
434,
Right. And
this
so
number.
what I'm evaluating is is
What the difference is between the
accuracy
434 and the 434R.
yeah. And
Like, how
like
close are those to actual?
how close are those to actual, and the accuracy and completeness of this document that we're
Well, so
basing
if you
records
look at
off
this
of?
one right here, where it says estimated unreserved fund balance 0. That's wrong.
Right.
When this was filled out at the beginning of 2025, we could have put an estimated number that was not 0, because we knew, I would have hoped that we were gonna have an unassigned fund balance greater than 0 for a
Yeah.
year. So like, that was just incorrect.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to evaluate the process, which we know has been shaky, and our new process moving forward with the tax cap, which is dependent.
Well, but it doesn't change how if you look back historically of these revenue numbers that were reported to the state by the town of Brentwood, I don't think anything has changed in that process.
So both the 434 and the 434R are just a form that are filled out by the town administrator,
Correct?
or if there isn't a town administrator, Letty. Because I did see one of them literally said like, okay, per Letty.
Yeah, I did. I was like,
That probably would have been like this time last year, right? Like there was no,
yeah, just
no,
send it.
I'm telling you, that's
No,
what
I'm
would have happened.
not.
So I don't think it gets approved by the select board. I think the DRA looks to have somebody update the form saying, okay, you thought this is what you thought this is what you're gonna get from your block grant. What did you actually get? You thought you're like, it's a comparison of the estimate versus, okay, tell me where you are now.
Then maybe we just table this until I have the town administrator be at our meeting. Because I
Right.
don't really have I don't.
No, I know.
There isn't an answer.
I was just, since we were on the topic, using the time to go and try to compare those. I also do think that the tax cap is that's been a great tool to ensure that we're asking, I think we've all asked these questions in the past, but now it's like imperative kind of that we get
answers to them.
the answer
Well,
and to
yeah,
the bottom
and
of it.
Just remember, what this is used for, what this revenue number is used for is because at town meeting in March, we will, if we set it to 3.3%, kind of what NHMA said, well, then our total appropriation value will be $7,501,398, right? So we'll be able to track as, depending on appropriation and warrants, as they get approved, if the next warrant is going to cause us to go over that, we will have to amend that warrant to be a tax cap override.
Yeah, I think that we know, right, we know prior year's appropriations, and sure, the war service over those other two pieces, variables, are smaller dollars. And so to me, don't warrant as much scrutiny, but the 434, which,
And just so you know, like the war service credit, we kind of kept it flat, and I believe NHMA agrees with our approach that, well, because you can kind of look at history, but it tends to stay about flat because
Sure.
it's either like new veterans, like moving in or moving out of town, right? Like, or something like that, or a new veteran
Yeah.
who suddenly
I
signs up
totally
for it.
agree with that.
And then on the actual overlay, for sure, as Letty had brought up, it probably will go down. It's high, but because it was a reval year, we definitely want to not bring it down yet because
Right.
there might still be abatements that happen.
Sure.
Now, next year, it might be different because the abatements kind of would
Totally.
probably have subsided.
Right.
And then on the revenue, as you saw, it was kind of like looking at like the last 15 years, coming up with what's the average, and then it
Right.
kind of zeroed in on some of the recent
But
years.
we're using the last 15 years of the 434, correct?
I'm looking at what the last years of when we set the tax rate, what the Town of Brentwood and the state approved as our revenues for setting the
Right.
tax rate to the
What
residents.
I guess what I'm getting at is that is what we used to set the tax rate, and still we had all these years of $2 million or $1.8 million, whatever it was, in unassigned fund balance. And so,
Yeah, we were over by like 600,000.
and so what I imagine is that if we more clearly understood and had potentially a better process, or got some answers to the process of the 434R and this might just be like time that it takes for a new accounting system and transitions and et cetera. But if we are so conservative in our tax cap methodology, there is a scenario in which, and I'm thinking about this out loud, there's a scenario in which our revenue is actually much larger than what we estimate because we're using the 434R, which I haven't double checked to be historically accurate to our actual revenues. Therefore, we have more dollars for the approach. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
the
And
change
I
in
think
the unassigned fund
we should
balance.
be able to get this because at some point this is audited. All is audited. I should be able to ask the town administrator to say, okay, for the last 5 years. Now, granted, show us what was used for the tax rate, which we already have that,
We have
which
a-
would have
yeah,
been the
the
number that the
434.
state approved in November. It would be in
Yeah.
November. And then when the books were finally closed, what was the actual revenue? What was the
Right.
difference between those
are
two?
right, and they're all in the annual reports. And so
Right.
I can
It's
pull
just,
those
I
numbers.
would have to talk to her because some of those lines, I'm not sure, like, we know the one that said property taxes, like, you'd have to subtract that.
Right. Or what's in other,
Yeah, and I don't know, right. What's other,
and
I
then the
don't know what
earnings
that
and
is. And,
losses, yeah.
because some of these definitely show up on the lines that are in that 430, but I
Right.
don't know what that is. I would have to ask her.
I think we've asked that before and I forget. So I guess that was my only,
Okay.
I think the potential for one, being too conservative on the tax rate, the tax cap piece in what we're handling could mean a large amount of unassigned fund balance. I don't know. I need to think about that more. And or could mean that we're that we're shifting the process of what and how things can be approved. like
Absolutely.
warrant articles,
Yeah,
et
absolutely.
cetera.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So I
you
just want to
could-
be cognizant.
Yeah,
of
of course,
the new
of course,
process and
of
take
course.
this opportunity to really get to the bottom.
Absolutely. I mean, and like I said, that's why I was trying to use the statistics of the numbers
Right.
that we have.
Right. Right.
But then I also sent it to NHMA, who kind of gave us that different view of like, well, you might want to be a little more conservative. And they
More.
kind of threw out some data about car sales. Because I mean, it did stand out to me, and I guess I would have asked the town administrator, and maybe that's why I said we could table it, and
Right.
I'll just invite her to our next meetings. But like, why did it, it went down $250,000, right? And it's just that.
Right.
But again, I can see this happening because if
Over.
right, well, if new car sales go down, right, in the town, because let's face it, right, like that.
I would check
Right.
with the tax collector, actually, town clerk tax collector, because I feel like she has a pretty good handle on
Mm,
how many people seem to be buying new cars.
Yeah.
right.
Again,
Or
I gotta be honest, like, I'm
dogs
thinking
or
that the town
something.
administrator ultimately has to fill out this form and send it to the state, and it's
Right.
audited by New Hampshire DRA, so
Mhm.
I guess I'm assuming that like she's confident that these numbers she has
Yeah.
are roughly right. I don't, I mean,
But I guess what is the, if the estimate is wrong,
Hmm?
what's the harm?
well,
Uh,
okay, back to the goal that
No,
I'm
no,
trying
like,
to
in
get to,
terms of
like,
the-
we
in
need to
terms of the
pick a revenue
434
estimate
I
to
know,
set the
but in terms
tax.
of the 434 versus the 434R, if the town administrator guesses what they think the land use change taxes are gonna be or
Right.
whatever, and they guess wrong.
So my opinion, I would think if I'm a town administrator, I would always be a little, when you're setting the tax rate, I would be conservative because that way, because you don't want to go the opposite end
you wanna
because
be pleasantly surprised. Not,
right, because you want to generate additional fund balance, right? Versus if you go the wrong way, if you estimate $1 million of revenue and you only have 700,000, you didn't tax enough. You've just created a $300,000 thank you deficit. Right. So I know that they're conservative on these numbers, and they should be. They actually should be, but not like crazily. But there should be some conservative stuff in
I
there.
wonder, since this, especially with the tax cap, and I'd have to look, but I wonder if it makes sense to add like this as part of our not departments, but like part of what's on our schedule is to have this so we can review with the town administrator and the tax collector. Is-
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I
think
kind of,
that'd be
but I thought about it would be in reverse. I thought we would come up with like that we would figure out something, and then I would kind of write a letter to the town administrator select board and the treasurer kind of to review this. This is what we see
No,
as
but I
being a
mean,
number, but
the
I get what you're saying
434.
now. It's like,
Wouldn't it be nice to have had a review of the 434R because of how it's the largest part? I mean, besides, it's the biggest part of how we understand the tax cap.
yeah, I'll be, again, being totally honest, I didn't think there would be an issue with us using an estimate based on the historical numbers that
Right.
we had. I really didn't. But it
I
sounds
think
like
it's-
there's
it's-
definitely a
yeah, I
concern
think it's
that the
something
committee
that's come
has
up
with revenue, and
before
that
with the
it
revenue
just warrants
pieces,
having that.
right?
To Gabby's point, though, with estimates, and to your point with estimates, my concern would be that we have to be careful, not even concerned, but we have to be careful because if the town is already conservative in their estimate for tax purposes, the way that you've described, and then
We are conservative.
conservative, I don't want to double deep into, like, I'm not, maybe
true.
that's not,
No,
but
you're
again,
right.
to the point
You're
that
right.
Gabby's making, like, we don't want to end up with too much of a unreserved fund either. And then what does it mean? How it would be good, like I guess, and I've been just listening to you guys, and obviously you spend more time looking into this, but I think it understanding the exact what happens if is very important, right? And I think that at this point we just don't have all the like in-depth understanding of what happens if. I guess that's my so this is great, and I think that it's definitely like, and for us, like for you, like to explain, right, to the town, right, because you will be presenting this at the town meeting also. That's obviously essential.
Yeah, we'd have to present it at the budget hearing,
Or at
and
the
then
budget
obviously when we
hearing,
have
right,
town
right.
meeting, it's gonna
Right.
be required.
But-
We're gonna have to have it there.
But I think that that's a really valid concern, that if we had 1 year with a big unreserved or unassigned fund balance, that then offsets taxes, and then we
then you
adjust
kinda-
our approach to be more accurate, the next year we'll have kind of the same situation that we were in with the year that's like
offset
the
and
big
then
offset
none.
year. And then, yes, obviously we'll be providing this information to people, but you'll have people who look at their tax years or their
ahead.
tax bill 2 years from now and be,
So using the unreserved fund balance to offset the tax rate does not affect the tax cap at all.
no. I mean, when people look at their tax bill, one year they'll go, oh, nice, this isn't that bad. And then the next year they'll go, what?
That's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying is we don't want that to happen because of our actions of
I'm
being too
just gonna
conservative, and then
summarize
people are shocked in 2 years.
I think we need to have at least a town administrator here,
Yeah.
right? And if she needs to pull somebody else here to really explain, I believe, the difference between the revenue estimate that we just submitted for the tax rate and then at what are the actuals, you know? And she won't know the actuals for 2025 yet because the year's not done. But how did she generate those numbers?
Right.
Because as Alina pointed out, and you all have,
Well,
it's
also,
true.
if she comes
If
to
we're
another
too
meeting here,
conservative,
2025 will be done.
but, yeah, but I think the books
Takes
won't,
longer.
yeah.
No.
But the important thing is that we don't want to be too conservative because all we're doing is we're tightening
there's
our
a line.
appropriations up when we
Yeah.
really don't have to, right? It's good to have, this whole thing was to set the target.
Yeah.
And we want the target to be as good as it can be. And even NHMA said, look, whatever you do, as long as you have it documented and it's the best of you.
Right.
But so I know, and I was concerned about going too low because as you can see, what actually starts happening is if the revenue,
Yeah.
if you say the revenue's not going to grow much, you actually start going below a 4%. Like
Yeah.
this would be a 3.9%
Right.
because of the other two, and they're small,
overlays,
right?
yeah.
They're small, but then they start to add up because your revenue is
Because
not
your
growing enough.
4% is
Yeah,
not
your
growing.
revenue's not growing
Um,
enough. So
The other thing I was just going to say real quick is that in the past we've brought up revenues, and I feel like there's I don't remember specifically been pushed back potentially, like that's not under the purview of the budget committee,
It is.
and I do think that it
Revenue
is,
specifically is.
and I think we've gone and like looked up our guidelines on that, but I think just auditor notes for next time that it would be helpful to have the 434R like on our agenda to review, which I didn't realize to even think of that or to request to put it on the agenda for the
So just-
timeline in which
Just in
it
terms
gets
of
generated
timeline,
next year.
that's, I'm just looking, so the due date for the first version of the 434 is September 1st of every year.
Okay.
And then,
So that I think would be really helpful, and we're coming out of like summer,
Which makes sense because by then you have 6 months closed.
right? Still tight, September 1st.
Well, I mean,
For 6
through
months.
June, right? You have 6 months and then
Yeah.
hopefully July you're closing, August you preparing
Right.
434R,
Okay.
434.
would
And with
wanna
the
have
new
it before
accounting
it's due.
system,
I know.
we should have it right there.
I'm so excited for the accounting.
So I mean,
Okay.
and I'll talk to the town administrator, and again, our next meeting would be January
I don't know.
5th,
12th.
12th.
Cool.
Right. Okay.
I think maybe this is not to be combined with school because this is going to be also like.
But it's also maybe it's something too, if I can get some information from her and
Right.
share it with the whole group, right? Because,
Right.
But even then, if we have to
Yeah.
ask
Yep.
questions, we can do that.
Yep.
We can-
right,
Okay.
I agree.
I
agree.
School gonna
I agree.
be long.
Did we have a meeting scheduled for the 7th, or am I crazy and that's
No,
not
we
real?
Oh, I
talked about
do
it.
have that.
So the
um,
school, that's the school board meeting?
No, that's the 12th.
No, the
No,
eighth-
the meeting of.
Oh,
school
is on
day.
the 7th?
The school board always meets the first Monday of every month?
That's
No,
a
no,
Wednesday.
that's 6.
Oh, never mind.
No, that's, yeah, sorry, I'm looking at our old calendar.
I'm looking at
but
the wrong
I
calendar.
remember, we
Please
did
forgive
talk
me.
about Wednesday, potentially, but it was
Yeah.
to be decided if we need that. And I think that was if we couldn't do today, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Jen?
So that's what, but just if
just
we
looking.
think that we want to
She
have
had it.
this, oh no.
Oh, that's, yeah, it
Oh.
just goes to.
This
after a while.
discussion But
Yeah, so
not
the school is on the
during the
5th.
school board meeting, that this would be maybe a good, that
No,
would be a good thing to discuss then?
we had, I thought, and if you look at the minutes, our next meeting is Wednesday, January 7th.
Oh, okay.
That's what I have on my calendar, actually.
Do we need it?
Yeah, I thought that was again, maybe I'm
Well-
confusing
So
things, but I
tomorrow
thought that it
night,
was
the
more
select
like
board is scheduled to approve, I think, the rest of the budgets. Let me just double check.
Okay.
Um,
I guess that would be that then. And then
Hopefully the rest
school on
of
the
the
12th.
the insurance benefits budget, recycling, rubbish collection, and waste disposal is tomorrow night. Let me look and see, is that, I don't think that's all. I think we're still missing some.
The ones that I have open,
Yeah, there's still a couple more other than
assessing,
that.
assessing, government buildings,
Mhm.
information system,
Mhm.
insurance,
Mhm.
recycling, waste
Mhm.
disposal.
Yes.
that what you have?
Yes.
Okay.
So assessing information systems and government buildings are not on the agenda for tomorrow, so those are still outstanding. So I guess it's up to you if you want
What-
to.
If I can get the town administrator to come and speak on the revenue, I would like to meet. I would like to get this tax cap thing done and get,
Yep.
yeah. I think it's really important that we kind of share that back too with the select board because they're going to be looking at warrants. And it'd be nice if they, again, we get a number to them.
So this is very unofficial. This is just like my napkin math. I've been keeping track of the budgets that we've approved and placeholders for warrant articles. Obviously, none of them have been approved by the select board. I've just been putting in like the ones that we typically do every year, highway vehicle. We look like we're in pretty good shape. The one for the fire department, I didn't have in there because I didn't know about that one until today. But it looks like we're in good shape.
Fire must, the fire is the total.
Three, I mean, the 350 was for roads. That would be a big one, right? Is that one that you had?
Yes,
I was
but
just
you
trying to
have
think
to
the ones
remember
I
this
was-
is in comparison to last year's total appropriation.
Oh, I thought you were saying looking at so far, like, because Kat brought this up last time, we're looking like we're in pretty good shape on the budgets as they're coming in.
Yeah.
How
We are
much, and now if you,
definitely
but now if when you add warrants to it, how are we looking toward a tax cap? And
Yep,
I-
and that's what so I just added, I did 150,000 for the additional per diem shift, because that would be half, that would be just in the day or the night. And that brings me to 7,564, which is very close to your
oops, where?
where's your?
Then this number is a total estimate because that was based on back when, we talked about,
No,
The
Yeah, go to
200
your other sheet.
which other sheet?
Oh, yeah, the one we
Oh,
had
this
before.
sheet, I'm sorry.
Oh, which
No, that's
also,
okay.
can you
This one?
send that to
Yeah.
us?
Yeah,
Which?
so the number,
Did you send this to us? And I'm just being silly?
I believe I did.
Okay.
Plus, I have to update it for tonight anyway, so you'll get it
So-
tomorrow.
Yeah.
the number I
wow.
get is, we're only about $60,000 over.
Yeah.
So that feels pretty good.
Which
Do you have anything in there is it like 25,000 to the trash thing? I'm just thinking the ones I
so-
thought of that
so-
were going to be different, were going to be the roads with 350.
Yep, so
And then
I can
the-
tell
the-
you what
the-
I
the half
put in
of the
as
year of
placeholders for
trash.
all of those. Because I haven't seen those budgets yet. So I left employee benefits level funded off of last year. I know it's gonna go down this year, so that felt like a safe estimate. That's a
Right.
little bit of an
Agree.
overestimate. Recycling, I had going up by 45,000 and then another 10%, just as a placeholder. Because I know we had calculated that one wrong last year.
Thought I just did it. Yeah, let me look.
Did you get?
I was trying to mess around with this just before I came,
Mhm.
looking at waste and recycle. So this was 2025.
Oh, no, I'm just,
5% increase. Oh,
I'm just going straight off of what last year's, I was trying to estimate for the purposes of this, what the ask was gonna be for budgeting. So I had them all going up by probably too much, by like 10% each.
Well, right here, see these two numbers? I don't know if it's too small. Let me get it bigger. Let me get it bigger. Let me just tell you what this is. So these are from the contract, the waste. So if that's manual and automated, okay? This is right from the contract. It's a 5% minimum increase. I'm assuming that the last time I looked at because it's based on the regional, not the COLA, the regional federal.
Are you talking about the trash?
Yes. So I put a 5% increase. So this is just showing.
Are you talking about the contract we have with? Waste
Correct.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
that's fine.
So anyways, these are the two numbers I thought would be in the budget that for waste would be 381.04 and recycle would be 152.03. And if you look at recycle, the original number that was just thrown in there was 133.5, and I suspect it's because
That's fine. I'm just telling you that the numbers I have as my placeholders are 158 for recycling and 450 for trash. Just,
oh yeah, you're
because I have no idea.
right.
We're going to see those for the first time tomorrow.
Okay.
And so with all of that, with all the budgets we've approved, I have the operating budget coming in at less than last year.
Right.
By about $150,000. And then I added in all of the warrants I was aware of, plus the ones that we haven't talked about, but like we usually do, you know, the revaluation, the IT hardware, building maintenance, like those. I'm getting, like I said, 7.56 million, which is very close to your 7.5. So
Yeah.
that feels good. And again, a lot of this is just guessing placeholders.
No, but that's all we can do right now.
So, yeah. Yeah, because just looking at any one of these things without knowing what the other ones are is useless.
So on that meeting, the next meeting, I guess we'll just base it on seeing what they approve tomorrow.
Right.
And then what information I could get. Because I think if it's a good use for, I think if the town administrator can come and explain this to us and give us the information we need, I think it's worth meeting and doing that.
Can't make it, can we ask her first?
Well, that would be a Wednesday, I believe. So that is a day that she works. I know she doesn't work on Monday, so that's a Wednesday, so.
I'm just thinking, and that's just because she's also our finance director, beginning of the year and the first week after the holidays, she's gonna be
That's okay.
swamped.
Oh.
Like, she's gonna be so, like.
Yeah, if she says she
so
can't do it,
much.
she can't do it, then we
I
can't,
mean,
we
even if
just,
she can just
we
send us
cancel
an
the meeting.
email with more
Sure.
information, that would be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if we have enough information, I think it's worth meeting. If we don't, well,
Right,
we
but
can
I was just thinking, like, for us, we're a little more flexible with that, and like, maybe we finish up all the budgets first and then have that meeting with her and just take the whole meeting just with that and talk at that point where we are, what are we seeing, you know, and then use that meeting as preparation for the public meetings to come. Like, I feel like that would be a good use of our time as well, and then at that point, we'd literally have all the budgets.
Should we try to set another January meeting on the calendar then?
Yeah, I'd say like end of January,
Well,
because by then we have all the
I
budgets.
see that you have the schedule in front of you, Jim, for the working backwards thing, and I know that the
well,
February.
that's why we did the way we did, right? We had
Yeah.
But would this count though? Because this is more like informational for us. We're not talking about budgets anymore. We're discussing how.
No,
Well,
but I
but
think
the
what-
February 4th.
February 4th is definitely,
Right, that's a hearing, right. But what I'm saying is that look at January and
Yeah.
between like after the 12th.
We don't
hopefully
have
the-
anything scheduled.
Right, and the
So-
12th, let's say school is last, with with those other items that we just talked about, that by then, hopefully, the select board approves, right? Because those shouldn't take long. And then with that, we are done with our budgets, so then we could do like 26th, for example, and just
Yeah.
do that as informational preparation for the 4th
Okay.
type of, let's talk about all
Yep.
these calculations and everything.
Yep. so let's plan on this January 26th.
I think it's gonna make a lot more sense once we have everything, and then we can also like maybe we have other questions, maybe,
Yeah.
we'll, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Would this be a good time to talk about the hearing date? Because
Oh, you mean
the deliberative session? Yeah.
yeah, I sent you all the email, right? Like the school made I guess an error, and now their deliberative session is the same night as our public hearing.
Yeah.
But I went through the calendar again, and I think I shared this. If we move it by one day, we'd have to move both of them by one day, but we can't go more than one day, or we can't have a second hearing. It won't work because of the 7-day window.
I guess the deliberative session for the co-op is really important because it is the place where the number can be changed. And so I don't know that I want to have people have to pick between coming to our public hearing and going to that. I'm not even sure what I would do, to be honest with you.
So if we do it on the 5th, what you're saying is that we would have to move the March 2nd to the 3rd,
Or yeah, what
or not?
No.
what would we have?
The, we had a, so the public hearing is, if we move from the 4th to the 5th, then if we needed to have a second hearing, we had put down, where is it?
Sorry, I'm just.
The
I'm
12th.
into public
The
hearing.
12th was our second
Okay.
hearing.
I
We
see.
would have to move it to Friday, the 13th,
That's fine.
or we could not do it. Now, again,
I
the,
think
the
that's-
probability of that happening is probably not high, only because
I think.
I
like
think this is,
Co-op is huge.
yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, like, unfortunately, there was no other way to move it. And there's also a holiday in there. That kind of messed us
Yeah.
up, right? Because there's one holiday, so, and that 7-day rule. So, if we want to change it to the 5th and the 13th,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, yeah, it's
Knowing
fine,
that
as
but
we're
long as
probably
was there
not
some,
going
there's
to
nothing else on the
13th
5th,
Friday,
is
but
there? I
we're
don't.
probably not doing it. So
Hold, is that the first Friday or the first Thursday?
yes.
That means there's supposed to be a planning board meeting that day. Yeah,
But I mean, if we're gonna, I would rather conflict with planning board than
Yeah,
with
oh,
this deliberative
100%,
session,
yes.
right? Like,
yes, yeah.
but again, we're because of the 7-day rule.
What time is planning board at? Is it
7? No, we would just,
yeah.
we would just have to kick them out of here and they'd have to go somewhere.
Well, I was thinking of having it at the rec anyway. It's been at the rec the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I had already
do
reserved
think
the
the recording has a lot of value to it, so I would probably prioritize being in this room. And I mean, we heard that the
so many people who come to the public hearing.
Last year was the first year we had that many people.
but-
I'm gonna be honest with you.
But
Usually
there's recording capability, because I looked, you
there
had,
is not.
well, how come if I go on the web, how come if I go to the town YouTube page, there's a meeting that was held there, was the public hearing for, it was the select board meeting. You guys had your meeting there. In fact, I thought it was this meeting too. I thought it was the public hearing.
It
It's
was not the
recorded.
public hearing. The public hearing was not recorded last year. It was,
somebody recorded on a laptop.
somebody recorded it like on their laptop.
Yeah.
But
But
it never got uploaded anywhere.
But I think we have a lot of great information at that hearing, where if somebody is looking for information, they're not going to go through months of BudCom meetings. They're going to go to that. They're going to want to see that hearing.
You're saying like the recording. is
I
important.
think I would say that that's pretty important. And I mean, obviously it's not convenient, like this room's kind
This-
of tough, but we could have, I think we
Could we
discussed
move
it, we
this,
could
like,
have
further
people in
along
the.
Oh, yeah,
other
we could
room
do all sorts of
and then
things,
come
but
in, they could live stream.
I think the
over there.
other thing that I'm gonna just point out is this is an indication that this building is no longer fitting the needs of.
This is true. Yeah, because that's, if we can move these tables back a bit, the capacity of this room is much more than the chairs over there suggest.
I'm
We
sure
could
there's
always
The
bring
capacity of this
in
room is actually
chairs.
99 people, which I've always thought is wild.
Yeah.
I'm sure
No, so
there-
that's what, it's not a
there's a-
fire code issue.
That's
We
really, it's
can-
99 people.
Anywho, I'm sorry not to,
I'm just reading, that's the fire
no,
department's
I know,
thing.
I apologize, because I gotta go, because I got a early start at 4
Uh,
o'clock in
Sorry.
the morning, so I gotta I'm sorry, guys.
You're okay.
It's okay. I,
Yes, I say
I-
move
I'm
it to the 5th
concerned-
and we can
All right.
duke it out later about where it's actually gonna take place.
Okay.
Have you ever had the public hearing in this building? I mean, just
Yes,
from my
all
own.
of them were held here up until like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Up until, I think.
Hey guys, just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, so you're suggesting Thursday, February 5th
Correct.
as the new
Yeah.
public hearing date?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, because the other
That
one
works.
conflicts with the deliberative session for the co-op.
Yep. And there was a mistake made on the SAU side on that one, so apologies for the confusion
That's
caused,
okay.
but appreciate the flexibility.
Thanks,
Oh, no, thank you.
Dennis. All right.
Have a stress-free week.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, yeah.
So do we
Go
have
team.
anything
Any other?
No,
to
I,
discuss?
So the
Does
only,
anything-
sorry.
Go ahead.
I remembered that I did have one other thing. So we haven't discussed these at the select board yet, but I do have bond schedules with payment amounts for a 15-year bond, a 20-year bond, a 25-year bond, and I don't know why, but a 29-year bond.
Ooh,
I don't know.
those are fun.
They have a variety of interest rates, which I thought was interesting. I guess that kind of makes sense. The highest interest rate is the longest term, and they go down from there. So I'm assuming we're gonna review these at tomorrow night's meeting. The only thing that I don't know, and I know we've talked about this before, but how does it work if there is no appropriation for a bond in 2026?
when the voters vote it,
Mhm.
they get told the total amount of the bond,
Mhm.
and they vote for the total amount of the bond. But the appropriation in terms of the tax cap, if that's what the question is, that it's whatever principal or interest is in the next year is what works toward the tax cap. So hypothetically, if it's a bond for $5 million, the voters are voting to allow the expenditures into the future. And I believe the law says you must show them the P&I payments for each of the years for when they vote. I think that's part of the warrant. It has to show the bond schedule.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think we can because these are all estimated until we actually bring them to bond bank. And I'm trying to think about the last time, because like I know when we did the fire department, they didn't.
I'm just
have-
going by what I read, because
No,
I looked
know,
this up on
but didn't we just-
NHMA.
We
And
just looked up the fire department one and they didn't have them all scheduled out. They just had like the total.
I don't know.
Like what the loan amount was and then what the first year's interest was gonna be. So we'll have to figure that out. But what
For the tax cap, it's just going to be whatever principal and interest is due in fiscal year 2026.
so if it's zero,
Then it's zero.
then it's zero. And does it have to still come in front of the budget committee or because it's a non-monetary?
Well, so the bond rules are the bond rules, right? So
Mhm.
whatever, how bonds work. But in this case, there would be, if there's zero interest in principal, there'd be no impact to the budget at all in 2026. So in terms of tax cap, nothing. In terms of 10% rule or anything, there's nothing because there's no appropriation associated with it.
And then so I know that typically the select board only presents to the budget committee warrant articles that have a financial
That's correct.
implication. So would
If
we
there was
also-
no appropriation, I don't believe that we would even vote on it because,
Financial impact?
Oh, well, for
Does that
sure, there's a
count?
future financial.
No, I
impact,
know,
but-
but
yeah, but I thought it said if it doesn't have an appropriation impact in the budget, I'll go back and read that. I maybe have to ask
So
NHMA or.
we're not gonna-
can we review it even if we don't have to approve?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, but you could do that. So the select board is going to have a public hearing anyway. There will be much talk about it, I'm sure. But because of when the bond schedules are, there's one first
Right.
half of the year, the second half of
Right.
the year. So realistically, we wouldn't be able to go out until the August sale dates, which means we wouldn't have our first payment until February of '27,
Right.
I think. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's how it would work.
And did they do both? What is it called? Level principal and level?
They only did level principal.
Interesting.
I think historically that is how the town has always done it, because that means that the interest drops every
Right.
year.
You pay less interest over the life of it. So yeah, that's definitely how you, the only advantage to the other one is you get an initial year, the few years at the front are lower payment. But again, I don't see the value because you'd pay so much more interest and there's not going to be a tax cap impact on this thing.
So I guess the thing that I still don't understand is, especially if there's no financial impact in 2026, if the voters approve this in 2026 for the 2026 fiscal year
Oh.
and going into the 27 fiscal year, and that amount by itself blows the tax cap out of the water,
Right.
what does that mean?
Good question. It means there would have to be, because now you would have in the debt services line, hypothetically, I don't know what these numbers show.
Yeah, I mean, I
but
could,
if,
all of them are higher than the amount that you described as being allowable under the tax cap.
right, right. So that means the operating budget would require a tax cap override, or you'd have to make reductions in other places to make it work. Does that make sense?
The operating budget would have to require a tax cap override.
Yeah, because if the operating budget that came forward had hypothetically $500,000 P&I increase, $500,000 increase in debt services next year, right? So you're blowing your tax cap by $200,000, $250,000.
No, but you're not, because the operating budget is not the total appropriation.
We
Wait a
basically.
minute,
wouldn't even have
we
to
hadn't
vote
even,
on warrant?
you wouldn't even be able to get to any warrants, or all I'm saying is if the tax cap allowed, I don't know the number, just throw it out of the air, $300,000 of space. If you have $500,000 of increase just in debt, now we haven't talked about trash, we haven't talked about any, the operating budget, I believe, would require a tax cap override. The very first article,
So let me give you an example. So, and again, these are napkin math numbers. Do not quote me on these because we have not approved all the budgets. I have the operating budget coming in at about 6.6 million for this year. Ish. We haven't approved all the budgets. This is adding $400,000 to that. Oh, sorry. Adding $400,000 to that is still less than the tax cap number. Oh, did that not work? So if the operating budget's coming in, I'm gonna use this year because the operating budget is 6.6 and we add $500,000 in debt service, that number is still less than this. So we won't need an override for the operating budget.
this year, I mean, I think should,
Next year.
I thought about 2027.
Right. So even if, so
And-
let's say for the sake of argument that next year's operating budget comes in at $7 million. That means we're still less than the 7.79.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that this thing was gonna be like really large, like,
It is. But,
Yeah.
but because it's the first thing we vote on.
Yeah.
So it's the first thing we vote on.
I mean, it's just gonna be like budget committee is not gonna be able to approve much in the way
like I
of
said-
warrant articles.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna have to like try to bring the operating budget down in other areas, which
yeah,
will be
okay.
But you don't have
extremely
to.
tough.
I mean,
Well, I
And again, because like, this kind of has a rough number, right? So this $7.8 million, right? Like, again,
I
and
mean, but
and if
that
we're,
0.8 million
if
goes
if
to
you're
the
talking
way
about a
we have
$500,000, is that,
for
what is the
roads
number,
and-
Letty? What is the number?
$300,000
For the
to
first
roads.
year, in 2027, what would it be, yes, roughly?
25 year, 20 year, pick a
20.
All right, 20-year, first year would be 536.
Okay, so $536,000 increase in just that one, the debt services account, right?
Yes.
And what, again, I'm just saying, like,
But total appropriations,
Is
remember, it's year to year, so
Jim,
we're only gonna get.
total appropriations
Yep,
starts with the operating budget. And then we do all the other warrant articles.
correct. Yep.
So if the increase in the operating budget is offset by reductions in warrant articles, that doesn't mean that we need an override.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just, it's a big amount. 500,000 is a
Yes.
lot when you have
Sure is.
cap of about, growth of about 300,000 roughly.
Right.
And all I'm saying is like, health insurance is gonna go up
But-
and trash is gonna go
Yeah.
up and,
So like, I'm
So-
gonna use this year as.
but
an
it's
example.
okay.
Let me use this year as an example. We spent $190,000 on a front end loader last year, warrant article. We're not spending that again this year.
Right?
That's an extra $190,000 you get to add on to this. Right?
Mhm.
An extra $190,000 of room before we,
Let they
Get
use
the
fund balance for that, but your point is well made.
fund balance doesn't count.
Right.
Right.
I'm just saying the loader, I don't think actually was an appropriation, but that's okay.
What do you
Because of
mean?
the fund balance.
It's
Yes.
appropriation.
Yeah, it's appropriation.
So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
283
You're right, you're right.
is
you're right,
actually
you're right, you're right,
475
you're
or
right,
something.
You're right.
So
And I think, I'm sorry, so I thought the question was, what happens, I thought you were trying to ask me, well, what would happen if like this caused the operating budget to blow, like, we don't even get to warrants, we don't even, we're like, we blow the tax cap, and all I was saying was, well,
in the right.
but if it doesn't happen, then it's just like to now. Then,
I wasn't
then
so much asking if it blows the tax cap. I was wondering so historically, when they approve the bond, they are approving all of the subsequent payments.
They do,
That's still the case with the tax cap,
absolutely,
but it still has to fit in.
yes.
Or we have to apply override language to other warrant articles subsequently.
Or you need to cut in other places in the budget so that you don't
Sure.
need it. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Totally. I'm sorry.
I think honestly, in some ways, it's easier with it being all in the,
Yeah.
like, not split between 2 years for the first payment, because,
Right,
I don't know, I just think
Right.
it's easier that way for my
Right.
brain.
But also interesting because the tax.
Also, it
That
is,
is, yeah.
it's 8:29. Can I
Yeah.
make a motion to adjourn?
and thank you.
Good,
Again,
yeah.
I'll
Does
just,
anyone want to second my motion?
Oh, I'll second it all day. Michelle's gonna second it.
and our next meeting will be
7th.
the 7th, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely trade
Yeah,
emails about
okay.
that, because if, but I will try to at least get us some information, because some really good points were brought up about the revenue tonight. I appreciate that. So we have a
And
motion.
we won't have to ask them continually going forward.
Right. So we have a
Hopefully.
motion.
And we are meeting again on the 26th.
I was the second on that motion.
Oh, I
Oh.
put it as
Sorry,
Letty.
20
What? Wait, 26, what was that?
Oh,
no.
sorry. We were just talking about all the next meetings.
Oh, in
and I was just,
January.
yeah.
Okay, I was like, what?
January
Oh,
7th,
Sorry. Yeah,
January.
in my mind, if we're talking about
12th.
January 7th,
January.
obviously, then
I don't have January 12th is the next one after.
yes.
And then I don't have the 26th.
Oh, I thought we just said that we were going to do that.
Um,
I don't know. Okay. I'm just
Well,
trying to take notes to
let's-
send.
Why don't we
We'll
just
talk
wait?
about it next
Yeah,
time.
let's wait till
Yeah,
the next meeting,
perfect.
because Alina did bring that up, but why don't we just wait? We have time, because if we don't need to,
And
Right.
we're-
I think she was just saying that if we
do
need
vote
to,
on
we
the
can meet that.
adjournment?
No, I have a motion and a second.
And we're gone.
Yeah.
We are done.
Bye,
Sorry, I
Dan.
needed.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and
Bye,
Happy
Dan.
holidays to everybody, and a happy and a healthy new year. Amen.
I am so excited for the new, yes. How do
We
I?
did it.
Okay, that's done.
They got real